What's up guys, Mickle here, and we have some breaking news that the SEC just took an absolutely massive loss. In this video, we're going to break down what just happened to the SEC because it is now more clear than ever before that the SEC's assessment of what is a security and what is not in this market is completely wrong, and every single time they say it is clear and obvious that certain tokens are securities, they are simply making that up. In this video, I have some very important news we have to go over in relation to that, as well as towards the end of the video, one of the biggest banks in the entire world commenting on how much longer this crypto bear market is going to last. Trust me, you are definitely going to want to stick around for that. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Make sure you take a second and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So let's jump right into the video, and I want to start off and go over the massive loss that the SEC just took, because this is going to go an extremely long way in undermining the SEC's credibility going forward in their ability to diagnose which crypto assets are securities and which ones are not. So just in, we have that the U.S. House Financial Service Committee has released a new draft of legislation to regulate stablecoins. The bill requires that stablecoin issuers be approved and regulated. It also states that stablecoins are not securities and should not be regulated by the SEC. This is absolutely massive because Gary Gensler and the SEC have stated multiple times that they see stablecoins as securities. Gary Gensler has gone out of his way to even call stablecoins stablecoin securities. It was clear a couple months ago that Gary Gensler was calling the stablecoin market unregistered securities, and what we see right now is the legislation being put forward by Congress to regulate the stablecoin market does not diagnose stablecoins as securities. This means that the SEC has a flawed ability to understand what in the market is a security and what is not. Now, the SEC is supposed to be an expert on securities, but they clearly made a massive mistake right here. And that begs the question, what else has the SEC gotten wrong? The SEC clearly called XRP a security. Did they get that wrong? The SEC tried to call the library token a security. They clearly got that wrong. The judge made it clear the token itself is not a security. So what we're seeing time after time is the SEC is not properly diagnosing what is a security in this market and what is not. I think what we all need to understand is that when Gary Gensler goes around and says all crypto tokens are a security, that is not the law and that is not the position of the SEC. That is his own personal opinion, and it means absolutely nothing. What we are seeing is that most people don't agree with Gary Gensler. These tokens are not securities. And I think we're going to see that same thing play out over the next couple months and years. We are going to see that the SEC has been wrong this whole time. Nothing was ever clear and obviously a security, and in fact, it was clear and obvious the entire time that these tokens were not securities. What is a security is the sale of the token when it doesn't exist yet, an ICO. That's a security, but the token itself isn't. Gary Gensler has been paraded around saying that the token itself is a security, and what we are seeing though is that his logic is flawed. If Gary Gensler was bringing proper logic to the table, then he would not be in a position right now where laws were being drafted that contradict his statement. This alone should undermine Gary Gensler's ability to diagnose any cryptocurrency going forward, and it is going to be a massive reputational hit to the SEC moving forward. And I want to show you just one other thing that really puts the icing on the cake, because earlier today the Luna token was actually called not a security in South Korea. Now the Luna token went to zero, so you would assume that regulators would really be cracking down on this one. But what we are seeing is regulators in courts all over the world can actually use logic. They can actually look at the laws for what makes something a security and actually diagnose it properly without listening to the SEC's attempt to overreach into this market. The rest of the world is understanding that these crypto tokens are clearly not securities. The SEC is saying they clearly are, but as we see more stuff come out like this, we are starting to understand more and more, and so is the general public, that the SEC is not pursuing the law in their agenda to regulate the market. The SEC is instead pursuing an agenda that gives them more power and gives them more money. Now, the good news is our government is actually understanding that the SEC is in fact overreaching. That's why they're not giving them control of the stablecoin market in these new bills. We also see that courts all over the world and in the US are understanding the SEC is overreaching, and we see other regulators in other jurisdictions putting in the clarity that crypto needs that the SEC is refusing to do. The reason that is such good news is everyone is ignoring the SEC charade. No one is buying their assertion that everything is a security. One of my biggest fears was that people were just going to go along with what the SEC was saying. People weren't going to actually look into the legality of the SEC's argument and instead say, oh, well, the SEC is in charge of securities. They're saying these things are securities, so I guess they're right. Let's just listen to them. That is not what's taking place right here, and that is a massive win. Let me tell you right now, Gary Gensler wanted everyone to listen to him. He wanted everyone to come in and register and for him to be able to will this industry into being a security. That is not what's taking place, and that is a massive win going forward. So now I want to move on and quickly talk about something that's definitely not getting a lot of attention, and this was actually pointed out by 24 Hours Crypto. Now, I think it's so funny that XRP is one of the few tokens out there that is always proclaimed to have bad tokenomics, and I never understood this notion because in my opinion, XRP has some of the best tokenomics out there, even better than Bitcoin. You can't say XRP has bad tokenomics simply because there's a lot of XRP. That doesn't make any sense because it just makes XRP cheaper. It makes it so you can own more XRP rather than less Bitcoin. But you can still get the same price appreciation based on the asset succeeding into the future. So why do people say XRP has bad tokenomics? Well, they say it's because Ripple's dumping XRP. But that also doesn't really change anything because we still know the total amount. It's not like new XRP is being created out of nowhere. We all know that there is 100 billion total XRP that will ever be in existence. There's no surprise to that. It's not like Ripple's creating new XRP, so there's no inflation in the system. We all know the total amount of XRP that has ever existed, and that's not going to change. And what else is happening to XRP that almost no one talks about? Well, XRP is actually being burned out of existence at a pretty fast rate. Now, this is actually being analyzed by 24 Hours Crypto, and what we can see is over the past 36 days, we have actually seen 100,000 XRP be burned from the total supply. Now, this is actually a very impressive rate and something that I never expected to see. We are still at relatively low rates of mass adoption for the XRP ledger. A certain amount of XRP is burned with every single transaction. Imagine what is going to happen once large central banks start building CBDCs on the XRP ledger. The amount of volume on the XRPL is going to skyrocket, and so is the amount of XRP being burned. This is actually going to make XRP heavily deflationary. The total amount of XRP is going to be decreasing at a significant rate. That means if you buy XRP right now and just hold it, you actually have tokenomics working in your favor to increase the price of XRP. And that's outside of any mass adoption, which I think we all know we are heading towards. This is just so important to understand because XRP's tokenomics are something that I think are just so slept on. No one talks about how significant this is. In my opinion, XRP has some of the best tokenomics out there, and people just try to FUD the XRP ledger by saying they're bad. XRP is completely deflationary, it has a hard cap, and that is way better than almost any other token out there. Now, I actually think one day in the future, as the volume on the XRPL ramps, we are going to have to see the amount of XRP burned in every single transaction decreased. Just imagine if we had 10x more volume on the XRP ledger. Instead of that 100k XRP burned in the last 36 days, it would actually be 1 million XRP. And you can start to understand how this could compound rapidly. But buying XRP right now, you are getting in before all of this deflation, and it's something no one talks about. Eventually, I think we're going to end up with half the supply of XRP as we really start seeing volume ramp on the XRP ledger, and that doesn't even account for the amount of people who are going to lose XRP. Just keep this in mind, everyone always talks about tokenomics and they completely sleep on this. And last of all, I just want to finish this video off with this because I thought it was pretty interesting. I actually saw a tweet earlier today that Standard Chartered said that they believe the crypto bear market is over. Now, this is pretty interesting to me because we actually have banks now pushing a different side of the narrative that is actually pro cryptocurrency. Now, I've been seeing a lot of banks come out during this bear market and really start saying positive things about cryptocurrencies. Now, the reason why I think that is happening is because I think these big banks are starting to realize that, hey, these fintech companies might be ready to eat their lunch if they don't start adopting some of this new age technology to compete with them. Because of that, we're actually seeing a scenario where some of the banks are aligning with cryptocurrency, and that is only going to be good for crypto going forward. Now, one other reason this is very interesting is because I see a lot of people out there in my DMs saying, oh, we're not even close to the bottom. What we need to understand here is that XRP is down 85% from its highs. Everyone who talks about investing will say, wait until the cryptocurrency goes down 85 to 90%, then buy in. We're clearly close to a bottom, and we're clearly a lot closer to a bottom than a top, so just understand, you're never going to buy the exact bottom, but what we know is we are in a very similar position to where most bottoms happen. We already decreased a lot. So don't try to time the bottom. Understand the biggest institutions out there are telling you we're at a bottom. And if there's one thing we know from history, cryptocurrencies do not stay cheap for long. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.